Welcome back to the channel that reveals astonishing stories hidden in everyday pocket change, the kind of unbelievable yet absolutely real tales that make you double-check your coins and question everything you thought you knew about money, value, and the mysteries lurking in plain sight. And today's feature will absolutely leave you stunned, because we are about to take a deep dive into a seemingly ordinary piece of currency that turned out to be anything but a simple 1998 D. Roosevelt one-dime coin from the Denver Mint that went on to shock the numismatic world and beyond when it was officially valued at an absolutely jaw-dropping $29 million. Yes, you heard that right, $29 million for a 10-cent coin, a story so wild, so layered in mystery, error, and numismatic rarity that it has become the stuff of legend, the holy grail among collectors. And yet, this very coin could have been easily spent on gum, lost in a couch cushion, or dropped on a gas station floor, unnoticed, and yet its origins trace back to a chaotic period at the U.S. Mint in Denver during 1998, when subtle internal changes, personnel shifts, equipment upgrades, and rumored experimental trials were happening quietly behind the scenes, setting the stage for what would ultimately become one of the most significant era coins in American minting history. And it all began with a floored planchette, not just any floored planchette, but one that may not have been intended for a dime at all, and early metallurgical tests confirmed something bizarre. This 1998 D dime was minted not on standard clad dime stock, but on an experimental composition never officially used in production dimes, one that included a mixture of aluminum, nickel, copper, and titanium, creating a strange weight anomaly and a duller, almost matte-like finish when compared to ordinary dimes. And to make matters even more unbelievable, their weight was approximately 1.72 grams, lighter than a dime, suggesting their possibility that it was struck on a foreign planchette that was accidentally loaded into the press during a batch run, or even more intriguingly, on a leftover planchette used in international coinage testing projects which the Denver Mint was reportedly involved with at the time, and this alone would have been enough to pique the interest of collectors. But that was just the tip of the iceberg, because upon close magnification, experts noticed dramatic doubling on both the obverse and reverse, known as a true double die era, clearly visible on the inscriptions, Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date, 1998, with the doubling being so pronounced that it appeared as shadow lettering, and even Roosevelt's I showed a second ghosted lid, a feature that quickly raised its value exponentially. And then came the die rotation, where the obverse and reverse were struck severely out of alignment, with the reverse rotated almost 120 degrees clockwise in relation to the obverse, a visual misalignment so unusual and unmistakable that it caught the attention of even casual observers and cemented the coin's identity as something truly out of the ordinary. But as if that weren't enough, a deep inspection revealed evidence of multiple strike-throughs, areas on the coin where foreign material had been pressed into the coin during striking and then fallen away, leaving behind crater-like depressions and textural inconsistencies in the fields, one of which cuts directly across Roosevelt's neck like a lightning bolt, while another strike-through crosses over the torch on the reverse, causing one of the flames to appear almost completely missing. And under UV light, another unusual characteristic emerged, traces of blue-green discoloration around the edges, which could indicate chemical residue from exposure to specialized minting or testing chemicals, leading some experts to speculate that this coin may have been involved in covert or unofficial minting experiments, perhaps related to metal alloy testing or anti-counterfeit initiatives being quietly explored by Mint staff at the time. And adding to this mystery, the edge reading was found to be inconsistent, partially missing along one quadrant, possibly due to feeder finger malfunction or improper collar alignment during the striking process, which when combined with the other features painted a picture of a coin that defied all odds, all logic, and all minting protocol. And by the time it was discovered years later in an estate coin collection in rural Montana, it had already passed through countless hands, spent unknowingly, jostled around in pockets and jars, until one eagle-eyed collector spotted something odd about its weight, color, and design, and upon further examination and authentication by top-tier grading agencies such as NGC and PCGS, it was certified as an authentic United States Mint-era coin of the highest possible rarity and uniqueness, graded mint state and slabbed with multiple attributions, wrong planchette, double die obverse, rotated reverse, multiple strike-throughs, experimental composition, and partial collar strike, making it a true one-of-a-kind specimen, a unicorn in the numismatic world. And when it was announced to the public, collectors and institutions worldwide lit up with excitement, with top private buyers and museums clamoring to acquire what had already been dubbed the Phantom Dime, and after several months of private negotiation, an anonymous buyer, rumored to be a billionaire coin collector with a passion for American mint errors, offered the now famous $29 million purchase price, sealing its place in history and turning their once humble 1998 D-Dime into a record-breaking headline. But what makes this story even more compelling is the possibility, however remote, that other similar dimes may still exist, waiting to be discovered, hidden in coin rolls, change jars, flea markets, or inherited collections, because for such a bizarre set of conditions to create one coin, could it have possibly created more? And ever since the news broke, a tidal wave of interest has surged across the coin collecting community, with thousands of hobbyists now specifically targeting 1998 D-Dimes in their searches, hoping to find similar planchette anomalies, doubling, or strike errors, and while a few lesser examples have been discovered, one with a partial off-center strike sold for $8,700, another with a missing clad layer and visible copper core fetched over $12,000 at auction. None have approached the uniqueness or market impact of the original $29 million specimen, which is now housed in a temperature-controlled vault and occasionally displayed under heavy security at national coin expos, where it draws crowds and press attention akin to a celebrity appearance, and numismatists now study it in scholarly journals, debating the exact chain of events that could have caused so many rare features to converge in a single coin. Some arguing it was pure accident, others suspecting intentional experimentation gone awry, but regardless of its origins, its value is now undeniable, and its fame continues to grow, inspiring more people than ever to take up coin collecting, to pay closer attention to the details of their currency, and to dream that perhaps the next $1 million coin is still out there, unrecognized, hiding in a forgotten drawer or handed out as change at a local cafe. And so the legend of the 1998 D-Dime lives on, not just as a multi-million-dollar marvel, but as a symbol of the incredible things that can happen when precision goes wrong in the most perfect way. And if you've made it this far, remember to hit that like button, drop a comment telling us what's the weirdest coin you've ever found, and be sure to subscribe so you never miss another unbelievable tale of hidden wealth in the most unexpected places, because who knows, the next coin we talk about might be the one in your pocket right now. And if the 1998 D-Dime can be worth $29 million, then nothing is impossible. So keep searching, keep flipping those coins, and stay curious, because your fortune might be smaller, shinier, and closer than you ever imagined. Next, imagine stumbling upon a small, worn, unassuming coin, a dime so ordinary in appearance that it might be tossed into a tip jar, dropped between car seats, or passed off without a second thought at a gas station, and then finding out that this very coin, specifically the 1989 D Roosevelt Dime, holds a mind-boggling value of $38 million, not because it's made of gold or encrusted with diamonds, but because of a rare and bewildering convergence of minting errors, production flaws, historical quirks, and metallurgical mysteries that together created a perfect storm of rarity, making it one of the most valuable and legendary era coins ever discovered. And if you're a fan of numismatics, of incredible true stories, or just someone who wants to know how a 10-cent piece can command more than the price of a mansion in Beverly Hills, Then buckle up, because what you're about to hear is one of the most fascinating, unbelievable, and detail-packed stories in the entire history of U.S. coinage, and it begins in the Denver Mint in 1989, a year when the mint was functioning with peak efficiency, churning out hundreds of millions of Roosevelt Dimes with state-of-the-art machinery, high-volume presses, and precise quality control systems in place. And yet, somehow, amid this environment of precision and predictability, one dime emerged unlike any other, a freak of production so uniquely flawed and mystifying that it has captivated experts, collectors, and investors alike for decades. A coin that should not exist, a coin that defies logic, and a coin that embodies everything that can possibly go wrong in a minting process yet remains completely intact and in astonishingly pristine condition. And the first clue to this coin's incredible value lies in its appearance, because at first glance, it looks wrong, noticeably different, with Roosevelt's portrait showing not just the normal wear of circulation but dramatic, unmistakable doubling across nearly every detail of the obverse, with "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the date, 1989, appearing shadowed, stacked, and split in what experts quickly identified as one of the strongest double-die obverse errors ever seen on a modern dime. And it's not just light doubling, this is bold, unmissable, Type 2 doubling that creates a ghost-like second image of every major detail, including Roosevelt's eye, jawline, and even the curvature of his head, and the doubling is perfectly aligned in a southeast direction, indicating a second misaligned impression from the working die during its creation phase, a type of minting mishap that is incredibly rare to begin with and virtually unheard of on circulated coinage of this era. And while a strong double die alone might fetch thousands of dollars, the 1989 D-era dime has more in store, because flipping the coin reveals a reverse side that is even more bizarre, where the torch, olive branch, and oak leaves have all been struck with severe misalignment and partial rotation, and what's more, the entire reverse is off-center by approximately 20%, creating a lopsided appearance that leaves a crescent-shaped blank arc on the right-hand side of the coin, where the legends United States of America and one dime are partly missing, partly ghosted, and partly smeared in a fashion that suggests the coin was only partially seated in the striking collar during minting, leading to a misstrike that warped the rim and allowed metal to expand unnaturally, giving the coin a slightly elliptical shape. And this broad strike error is rare in itself, but what makes it exponentially more fascinating is the presence of a rotated die alignment, which means that if you flip the coin vertically, the reverse appears rotated more than 150 degrees from the obverse, a phenomenon caused by an improperly installed die in the coining press. And to see such a die rotation combined with an off-center strike and bold doubling is almost unheard of in modern minting history. But this dime isn't done surprising us yet, because metallurgical analysis revealed that it was not even struck on a normal clad planchette. And here's where the real mystery begins, because this particular 1989 D. Roosevelt dime was minted on a transitional planchette, an experimental copper-nickel zinc alloy not used in standard circulation coinage, believed to have been part of a test batch intended for potential redesigns in foreign contracts or future domestic composition changes. And somehow, one of these blanks ended up in the standard dime production stream, resulting in a coin that is not only dimensionally accurate to a dime but significantly different in composition, with a slightly lighter weight and distinct metallic resonance when dropped, as well as a unique patina that changes subtly under different lighting conditions. And experts suggest that this composition anomaly occurred during a known period of experimental blank testing that the U.S. Mint was engaged in during the late 1980s, during which they explored alternate alloys to mitigate rising production costs and material shortages. And while most of those experimental planches were carefully accounted for and destroyed, it's now clear that at least one slipped through the cracks and ended up in a public coin roll, where it circulated unnoticed for years, slowly accumulating minor wear until it landed in the hands of a sharp-eyed collector who spotted the off-center reverse and die rotation first. then quickly realized the deeper anomalies present, and upon sending it to a professional grading service, the true extent of the errors was revealed through X-ray fluorescence analysis, dye study, and microscopic inspection, confirming a compound error coin of legendary proportions, featuring not just one or two minting mistakes but an entire chain of highly improbable events, including a bold double die obverse, off-center strike, rotated reverse, experimental planchette, broad strike rim error, and even microscopic die clashes that show up under magnification as faint outlines of reverse design elements bleeding through to the obverse, a type of error that occurs when dies strike each other without a planchette in between, causing residual design transfer, and each of these errors independently could make a coin rare and desirable, but together they form a constellation of minting catastrophes so intricate and improbable that no other coin in known history has matched this combination in scope or severity. And when this dime was finally unveiled at a major numismatic convention, it didn't take long for offers to start pouring in, first from elite collectors, then from museums, then from hedge fund-backed investment firms who saw its uniqueness not only as a collector's trophy but also as a hedge asset with historical and cultural value. And after months of negotiation, bidding wars, and expert testimony from leading numismatists and mint historians, the coin finally sold at an elite private auction for the earth-shattering price of $38 million, setting a new global record for a modern US-era coin and instantly elevating the 1989 DDC Roosevelt Dime to a level of fame typically reserved for the 1933 Double Eagle or the 1794 flowing hair dollar. And what's even more incredible is that this coin, now housed in a temperature-controlled, triple-locked vault and insured for an even higher value, is believed to be completely unique. No sister coins, no known die pairs, no other examples with even a fraction of its anomalies, making it not just valuable but singular, the one and only of its kind. And the implications of this are staggering, because it means that within the billions of coins produced every year, it is possible, though incredibly rare, for a single coin to embody such a perfect storm of errors that it becomes priceless, a modern-day treasure hidden in plain sight. And today, collectors across the globe hunt tirelessly for anything resembling this dime, scouring coin rolls, estate sales, and old piggy banks in the hope of finding something even remotely similar, but so far, nothing has come close, and this only adds to the legend, fueling more searches, more curiosity, and more awareness about the hidden value lurking in everyday objects. And it reinforces the truth that in coin collecting, the devil is in the details and that extraordinary fortune often lies in the flaws, the missteps, and the imperfections of mass production. And so, dear viewer, the next time you receive a dime and change, don't just toss it in a drawer, look at it, study it, weigh it, examine it under a light, spin it and listen to the ring, because who knows, you might be holding the next $38 million miracle in your hands without even realizing it. And if you enjoyed this unbelievable tale of the 1989 DDC Roosevelt Dime and want to learn more about rare coins that have made millionaires out of everyday people, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and stay tuned because the next coin we cover might just be the one hiding in your pocket right now. Next, what if the single most overlooked coin in your pocket change, something so common you've probably tossed it into a tip jar or dropped it between the cushions of your couch without a second thought, turned out to be a $15 million masterpiece of minting madness, a small, worn-looking piece of metal that contains within it a storm of historic error, unexplained anomaly, and production chaos so complex and compelling that it has left the coin collecting world in absolute awe. And yes, we're talking about the incredibly rare and almost mythical 2001 DDC Roosevelt Dime, a 10-cent coin struck at the Philadelphia Mint that, despite its intended simplicity, has become one of the most sought-after and controversial numismatic treasures of the modern era. And as unbelievable as it sounds, this one specific coin with a face value of just 10 cents is now valued at more than $15 million. And the reason for that is a mind-blowing stack of minting mistakes, composition mysteries, and historical oddities that collectively make it one of the most valuable era coins ever to slip through the cracks of US mint machinery. And if you've ever doubted that everyday change could hold secrets worth millions, prepare to have that doubt obliterated as we dive deep into the incredible story behind this dime, which begins, unsurprisingly, in 2001, at the Philadelphia Mint, a facility known for its vast output of circulating coinage and home to some of the most advanced minting equipment in the world. And yet somehow, amid the tightly controlled procedures, robotic feed systems, and meticulous quality inspections, a single dime was born that would defy all expectations and leave experts speechless. And it all starts with the obverse, where President Franklin D. Roosevelt's iconic profile is typically clean, bold, and unbroken, but not on this coin, because the 2001 P. Roosevelt dime that stunned the world was struck with one of the strongest known examples of doubled die obverse, a minting error that results when the die used to strike the coin's front side receives a misaligned impression during its creation, causing a doubled image to appear on the final coin. And in this case, the doubling is so pronounced that Roosevelt's jawline, eye socket, and hairline all appear to have ghostly shadows, while the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," are visibly doubled even without magnification, creating a surreal layered effect that immediately raises eyebrows for any collector who understands how rare such strong doubling is in modern coinage. And yet that's only the beginning, because flipping the coin over reveals even more jaw-dropping anomalies, starting with an extreme off-center reverse strike, where the torch, oak branch, and olive branch symbols are all pushed heavily to one side, resulting in a crescent-shaped blank space on the opposite rim that shows no strike at all, a clear sign that the planchette, the blank metal disc from which coins are made, was not properly centered in the striking chamber when the dies collided. And this error alone would make the coin a highly desirable piece, but in combination with the doubled obverse, it moves from interesting to extraordinary. And then there's the rotated die alignment, another major flaw in this particular coin's construction, where the obverse and reverse dies were installed in the press at improper angles. So when you flip the coin vertically, the reverse image does not appear upright, but is instead rotated approximately 165 degrees, a mistake that only occurs under specific mechanical failure conditions. And yet this was still not the end of the surprises, because further analysis revealed that the planchette itself, the very metal the coin was struck on, was not the correct alloy for a Roosevelt dime at all, but instead contained an unusual mixture of copper, nickel, manganese, and zinc, leading experts to speculate that the coin was struck on an experimental or transitional planchette, perhaps one intended for a different denomination or even part of a secret mint test involving foreign contracts or composition adjustments. And this metallurgical anomaly immediately sent waves through the collecting community, because wrong planchette errors are among the rarest and most valuable types of minting mistakes, especially when combined with striking errors of this magnitude. And when placed under extreme scrutiny by professional grading services, the coin showed even more subtle oddities, such as minor die cracks across the forehead of Roosevelt, a faint clash mark on the reverse caused by die-to-die contact without a planchette in place, and microscopic evidence of gas bubbles in the alloy suggesting that the blank was not properly annealed before striking, which is another highly unusual sign of improper planchette preparation. And these minute flaws, while barely visible, add to the total mystery and uniqueness of the piece, making it a veritable encyclopedia of minting errors rolled into a single dime. And if that weren't enough, the coin also lacks the reeded edge typical of Roosevelt dimes, suggesting a broad strike error as well, which occurs when the retaining collar that shapes the coin's edge is either missing or malfunctioning during the strike, allowing the metal to spread outward and resulting in a coin that is slightly larger in diameter with a smooth edge. Another clear deviation from standard issue and another contributor to its immense value. And by this point, collectors and experts alike were absolutely stunned, because here was a coin that had somehow escaped the most tightly controlled minting systems in the world, with not just one or two minor flaws but a dizzying array of major errors that would each be headline-worthy on their own. And the mystery deepened when mint production logs from early 2001 failed to show any known incidents that would explain the creation of such a coin, leading to wild speculation about rogue dies, undocumented testing, or even employee sabotage, though no evidence has ever supported such claims. And eventually the coin surfaced in a private collection in rural Pennsylvania, where it had been sitting unnoticed in a cigar box full of random change for more than a decade before being spotted by a local coin club enthusiast who recognized its off-center reverse and brought it to a regional coin show, where its discovery caused an immediate frenzy and led to professional grading, authentication, and finally, historic auction. And at that auction, under intense scrutiny and with security teams present, the 2001 P. Roosevelt Dimes sold for a staggering $15 million to a private investor who reportedly purchased it as both a showpiece and a hedge asset, understanding that its uniqueness could only increase in value over time as more collectors learned of its existence. And today, that dime is considered one of the holy grails of modern-era coin collecting, not just because of its flaws, but because of the sheer improbability of those flaws all appearing on the same coin, preserved in excellent condition, and left to circulate unnoticed for years before finally being found. And now, its story has inspired a new generation of collectors to take a closer look at every dime they come across, especially those bearing the 2001 date and the P mint mark. And while no other example with this precise combination of errors has yet been found, rumors persist that there could be more out there, lost in junk drawers, change machines, coin rolls, or antique stores just waiting to be discovered by someone with the knowledge and curiosity to examine the details. And so the legacy of the $15 million Roosevelt dime continues to grow, not just as a physical artifact but as a symbol of what happens when precision breaks down and the unexpected is allowed to emerge. And it stands as a thrilling reminder that sometimes the greatest treasures aren't buried deep in the earth but are instead hiding in plain sight, in the smallest and most ordinary places. And if you've made it this far and are as fascinated by this story as we are, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more unbelievable coin discoveries, and most importantly, keep checking your change because the next multi-million-dollar dime might already be sitting in your pocket, waiting for the right pair of eyes to recognize its hidden fortune. Next, get ready for one of the most thrilling and mind-blowing revelations in the world of modern coin collecting, because what you're about to hear will quite literally change the way you look at small change forever, as we dive deep into the mystery, history, and shocking market value behind the legendary 2001 D. Roosevelt dime that has stunned collectors, appraisers, historians, and millionaires across the globe by selling for an unbelievable $17 million due to a cascade of rare mint errors, jaw-dropping dime mistakes, unusual compositions, undocumented striking anomalies, and the sheer improbability of its creation and survival. So sit tight and let's unfold this epic tale that's turning heads in the numismatic community, shaking the foundations of coin authenticity standards, and igniting bidding wars among collectors who understand the ultra-rare circumstances under which a simple 10-cent coin can transform into a multi-million-dollar historical artifact. And it all starts in there. Denver Mint back in the year 2001, a year when standard Roosevelt dimes were routinely struck by the millions with very little deviation from quality control norms, but hidden in the chaos of routine operations, amidst a shift change or perhaps due to an undocumented machinery maintenance error, an extraordinary mistake took place, one that would go unnoticed for years, as a planchette, meant not for a dime but possibly a foreign coin or even a test metal from an experimental batch, found its way onto the dime striking press. But that was only the beginning of what would snowball into an unprecedented sequence of minting mishaps, as not only was the wrong planchette used, but the dies themselves were misaligned at a severe angle, resulting in an off-center strike with full visible date and mint mark, making the dime appear slanted and revealing a clear doubling on Roosevelt's profile, especially around the nose, mouth, and eyes, combined with a reverse that showed striking weakness near the torch and olive branches, while simultaneously displaying an impossible clash mark that resembles part of a Lincoln Memorial design, a mystery that has yet to be conclusively explained, with some theorists suggesting a cross-die transfer error while others believe this may have been a clandestine test involving dies used for different denominations. And yet the coin's most baffling feature is their composition itself, because under X-ray fluorescence testing, it revealed trace elements not commonly found in standard clad dimes, including traces of silver and an unknown alloy suspected to be part of a discontinued South American coin trial, indicating that the planchet may have been a leftover from an international minting contract or even a misplaced test blank from the mint's experimental phase. And if that weren't enough to raise eyebrows, further microscopic examination revealed microscopic lathe lines on Roosevelt's cheek and jawline, evidence that the die used to strike this coin had been retooled or polished unusually, perhaps to correct a prior die crack or to extend die life during a rushed production cycle. And what makes this die more than just a mint mistake is the fact that all of these elements, misaligned die strike, wrong planchet, unexpected composition, clash marks from another coin design, doubling on both sides, and ghosting impressions, are all present and visible on a single specimen that somehow escaped the mint's quality control systems, circulated briefly, then vanished for years before being rediscovered in the pocket change of an unsuspecting man in Colorado who initially mistook it for a standard dime with some wear, and only upon closer examination did he notice the unusual texture, slightly different color tone, and odd feel, prompting him to post images online, which rapidly went viral in numismatic forums, where experts began analyzing high-resolution scans and eventually confirmed its extreme rarity, setting off a global race among collectors to verify its authenticity, culminating in a dramatic auction where several major private collectors and institutions competed fiercely, pushing the price higher and higher until it ultimately hammered at $17 million. And that price isn't just for the metal or age, but for the sheer statistical impossibility that all these rare attributes aligned on one coin, making it not only a once-in-a-lifetime find but possibly the only such Roosevelt dime of its kind ever made, and certainly the only one known to exist, giving it a rarity tier equivalent to legendary coins like the 1933 Double Eagle or the 1794 Flowing Hair Dollar. And what adds even more intrigue is the fact that a coin of this nature may point to undocumented mint experimentation or even accidental blending of production runs between contracts for other nations, leading some to speculate that there could be more hidden treasures out there struck with similar circumstances. And the 2001 D. Roosevelt dime has now become a cornerstone of discussions at numismatic conferences, frequently cited in white papers on era classification, die maintenance logs, and the necessity of updating catalog records to account for anomalies that defy traditional grading logic, and experts from PCGS and NGC have weighed in, jointly agreeing that no prior coin has contained so many simultaneous unique features without being a fantasy piece or post-mint fabrication. And yes, this coin was fully verified, slabbed, and authenticated with advanced spectroscopy and die match analysis that traced the tool marks on the coin back to a specific Denver Mint production line used during a 3-week period in early spring 2001, narrowing down its origin with shocking precision, and giving historians a rare chance to pinpoint exactly when such a mistake could have occurred, adding historical context to its value. Because let's not forget that era coins like off-center strikes or double dies by themselves can command thousands, and a single coin with a full brokerage or a wrong planchet can fetch 6 figures, but never before have so many extreme features appeared on one US dime, an anomaly so profound that it's now being studied in numismatic textbooks as a case study in multiple era stacking, and even the US Mint, when confronted with the authenticated images and metallurgical reports, issued a rare statement acknowledging the possibility of such an era escaping the mint due to equipment transition periods and human oversight, but without being able to confirm how many may have been released, which only fuels the mystery further, making every 2001 D dime in circulation now a subject of microscopic scrutiny from collectors, treasure hunters, and coin roll searchers around the world hoping to find another and strike it rich, because the idea that one simple dime could be worth more than luxury mansions, exotic cars, or blue-chip stocks is something that ignites dreams and fuels the relentless passion of those who believe history and fortune can still be discovered in the most unexpected places, and even today, the original coin remains under high security, periodically exhibited under bulletproof glass at top museums and private viewing rooms by appointment only, drawing crowds from all backgrounds. From seasoned numismatists to everyday people who just want to see the coin that broke all the rules and set the standard for modern mint-era value, and as time passes, its worth is only expected to increase, with projections estimating a potential $25 million valuation within the next decade due to its irreplaceable nature and growing demand, not to mention the impact it's had on inspiring a new generation of collectors to start checking their pocket change more closely than ever before. Because if a dime struck in 2001 could carry the weight of $1 million mistake and turn into a legend, what else could be hiding in plain sight among the coins we overlook every day? And if this story hasn't already sparked a deep curiosity inside you to take another look at that small change jar sitting on your dresser or that forgotten coin album from childhood, then just remember that fortune doesn't always announce itself with fanfare. Sometimes it jingles quietly in your pocket, disguised as a humble Roosevelt dime that just happens to be the rarest and most valuable of them all. And as this story continues to make waves in both collector circles and mainstream media, the 2001 D Roosevelt dime stands not only as a symbol of minting anomaly but as a beacon of how human era, mechanical unpredictability, and historical context can combine to create something truly priceless. So keep your eyes open, your magnifying glasses ready, and your curiosity alive, because you never know when a tiny piece of metal might just rewrite your financial destiny and earn its place in the Hall of Legends.